Recently, I've been thinking about that sense of guilt that you get when you put yourself first. And I was thinking about it the other day and I was like proper deep in it and thinking, why do we feel that way though? Why does it feel so uncomfortable and so weird to put yourself first? Why do we feel like by choosing ourselves, we're letting somebody else down? And I think most of that comes from the desire to be perceived in a certain way. We want that external validation. We want other people to see us in a certain way or in a certain light. We want other people to be able to rely on us or, see us as somebody who, that they can rely on. And the idea of, that person not being able to rely on us anymore, it just makes us feel uncomfortable to the point where sometimes it feels like we've let that person down. And ultimately what that is the fear of being perceived as selfish. I feel like from a very young age, we've always been conditioned to think and feel like putting other people before yourself or, doing something selfless is what makes a good person. And obviously we want to replicate that. We want to be good people. And as a result, sometimes we neglect ourselves or we let ourselves down. Now, I'm not saying that obviously you should always be selfish and always put yourself first, forget what other people are feeling or how it's going to affect other people. That's not what I'm saying. So I genuinely feel like selflessness is a good quality to have. It is a quality that, in my opinion, we should aspire to have. But at the same time, there needs to be a balance to it. You can't always be choosing other people over yourself. Sometimes the right path is the path that will benefit you. And I've really started to think about that recently, especially when it comes to protecting your peace. And, sometimes you might have someone in your life who is, being toxic or acting in ways that's gonna drain your energy, that's gonna drain your mental health and your overall wellness. And because you care for this person, you feel like you should be there for them. You feel like you shouldn't distance yourself from that person to actually protect your peace, but you should sacrifice your wellness, your peace to be there for that person and ensure that they get to a good place. And I know it sounds noble and it sounds like the right thing to do to be there for that person, but I feel like sometimes that's not necessarily the right thing to do. I feel like, yeah, maybe if it's, like the first time that they're doing that thing, then fair enough. But once it becomes a pattern, once you've tried to help them but they don't want to change, then I feel like it's time to actually maybe love them from a distance and protect your peace and distance yourself. And that's what I've been doing lately. And not gonna lie, in the beginning it kind of felt like, you're giving up on this person and you're turning your back on them kind of thing. But then I kind of realized something. The more I was there for this person and choosing to be there for this person, the more they started to disappoint me, the more they started to revert back to old habits, and the more they started to refuse to change. And obviously at that point, even though I don't want to do it, even though I want to be there for that person, I don't think it's always the right thing. I'm not gonna lie, it hasn't been easy distancing myself. It's not something that I do very often. I normally choose the path of actually being there for other people. But when it's too much, it's too much. You kind of have to take that step back, because then otherwise it starts to affect you in certain ways as well. It starts to actually weigh down on you as well. It's almost like trying to save a person who's drowning and they're sort of, dragging you down with them. There's no point for both of you to drown. And that's the thing, sometimes we're not doing them any favors by, being there for them constantly, even though they keep refusing to change. Sometimes they literally just need the world to teach them a lesson. Sometimes they need to kind of fall to then get back up and then realize that, what, maybe I do need to change. But yeah, I think maybe that was my mistake, thinking that I could actually change somebody or make them see a better path. I mean, sometimes that is possible, sometimes you can do that, but really and truly it has to come from that person. If they're not on it, then it's just going to be your time and their time that's being wasted. They've got to be at the forefront of that change. And if they're not willing to, then that's where protecting your peace comes back in, and that's where you kind of got to decide, what, the best thing for me to do right now is to just take a step back and love that person from a distance. And one thing that taught me as well, to be fair, is that sometimes as people, we kind of feel like we're responsible for other people's emotions. Like we kind of feel like it's our job to make them feel better, or it's our job to not make a decision or do something that's gonna make them feel disappointed or feel any kind of negative emotion. And I feel like sometimes that's why it's so hard for us to say no. You know, sometimes someone might ask you, oh, like, let's go and do this, or can you come and do this, and you know that that's not something that you really want to be doing. That's not something that you want to associate yourself with, or maybe it's not a space where you want to be in, but you kind of know how that person will react if you say no. Like, you know they'll be disappointed, you know they won't be very happy, so you kind of just go along with it, and you know, you say yes, and you do turn up and you do go to those spaces that you don't want to be in. And obviously that can sometimes be quite draining, which is why I feel like it's so important to actually get in a space or get to a point where we're comfortable saying no, we're comfortable disappointing other people and not feeling like it's our responsibility to keep them happy. And to also get in a position where we can actually stand on business on our decisions. Like, sometimes, you know, you might say no, and then because of how that person's reacted, you kind of feel that guilt, you kind of feel bad, so you sort of change your mind, and then you end up going ahead with it. I feel like sometimes we just need to be strong in our decisions and just pick ourselves every once in a while. Because yeah, fair enough, that person will be disappointed or whatever, but really and truly, they're going to be alright. Like, it's not the end of the world. They're going to be able to function without us, and it's not our job to manage everybody else's feelings and emotions. But yeah, this week I will be practicing a lot of that. I will be practicing choosing myself, and I'll be diverting a lot of my attention to things that I want to do, things that I'm actively choosing because I know they'll be benefiting me. I just want to thank you guys for commenting on my videos, sharing your stories, letting me know how you kind of deal with stuff and what you're going through. Because like I said in my previous videos, it actually does help me quite a bit, because you know, the point of this channel is to inspire other people, and when you guys do comment, you know, I get inspired as well. I get inspired by your comments, and what I'm trying to do here is also to create a community of people who all support each other. So keep commenting, keep sharing your stories, and if you found some value in this video, then make sure to like and subscribe as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.